from a series of parallel hobnail scars. The lobby was dim. Leary paused. There was a bleary old man behind the desk. Near the window sat a girl, almost hidden by an Edmonton newspaper. She wore a tight whipcord dress, and her posture, with one knee over the other, her slim body bent aside to catch the light, made him want to see the rest of her. Just then she dropped the paper and looked at him over it. He could see her eyes. They were dark and lovely. Then the paper hid them, and he walked on to the desk, saying, "I need a room." The clerk waggled his gray head and said,
"You timber stiffs better have your own balloon and nose bag when you hit these railroad camps. What rooms we got are for the boiled collar boys. We ain't even got a stray bed. Have to roll your Sugans in the bullpen. $2.
Leary tossed his war bag behind the counter, with the .38 too close to the side, making a heavy thud. He watched the clerk, but the old man didn't seem to notice. "How can you get downriver to Skidway?" Leary asked.
"Railroad barge. Tell 'em you're a shovel punk and you can ride free."
He was more friendly after getting Leary's $2.
"You looking for a job in the woods? Come around next year. Things will be poppin' in this country once the railroad goes through."
"The Neal boys still up there?" He heard a rattle of newspaper and knew that the girl had again lowered it to look at him. He turned and saw her face. It was everything he'd imagined. Pretty enough to knock a man back on his heels. To hell with the Neal boys, he thought. I wonder who she is. He might have gone over, but she ducked behind the newspaper again. The clerk was saying,
"Sure, Orrin and Bill Neal are still up there. Biggest outfit in the country now that the Learys went ka-flop and old man Dardis got killed. Young Mary Dardis, she's still millin', but she's down to one saw. Come to think of it, the Neal boys aren't up there exactly either. They're right here in Red Bank. Came in yesterday, staying right here at the hotel."
Leary, signing the register, had already seen their names. He wrote his own name, and the clerk, reading it, said,
"Leary? Say, you ain't one of the Skidway Learys, are you? No relation to old Logger Leary that used to be the big tie-ee up there?"
"My dad." The clerk whistled. He drew himself up and said,
"In that case, maybe we do have a room for you after all. That'll be $5 more."
"One seat in a crumb show's as good as another. For $5, I'll camp in the bullpen." He wanted another look at the girl, but he didn't want to seem too anxious. Casually, with the swing of his long body, he turned, but she was gone. He barely glimpsed her leaving the front door. Outside, he had another brief view of her turning down a side street toward the railroad sheds. He shrugged and dismissed her from his mind. He had a bath and a shave at a barber shop, and with the early darkness of northern November settling, found a stool in a steamy, crowded Chinese cafe. He'd just ordered a caribou steak when he realized that a man had come from somewhere and was standing behind him. He was a big man, very broad, with legs like a stud horse. Hatred went through Leary in a raw shock. The years had made him forget how he felt toward the man. Orrin Neal. Neal had run his father out of business. He had done it cleverly by maneuvering Leary and the Dardis Company into a timber war. Buzz knew that now. He knew it, but the Neal boys didn't know that he knew it. Buzz had lifted the cup of coffee just placed in front of him. In the steamy back bar mirror, he saw Orrin Neal's face. A smile turned the corners of Neal's mouth. He knew Buzz was watching him. "Hello, Buzz," he said in a silky voice that was unexpected from a man of his rugged appearance. "So, you came back to look up your old friends." Leary went hot and cold. A clammy perspiration sprang out along his hairline. He was thinking, here is the man who killed Steve Dardis, trampled him to death under his hobnailed boots. It had been like this. Dardis had agreed to a night meeting with a Leary representative with a view to stopping the trouble that was bankrupting them. But in the morning, Dardis was found beaten to death, and the Leary representative had fled the country. Everyone blamed the Learys. The Learys even blamed themselves.
"I should never have sent Hobbs Donahue to talk with him," old Logger had said.
But now Buzz knew the truth. Fighting to control his voice, he revolved on the stool and said, "Hello, Orrin." They shook hands. Neal asked pleasantly, "Still in the lumber business?" He had a good look at Neal now. 5 years hadn't changed him, except to enlarge his jowls, but he wasn't fat. He was big and predatory, and, if one was to believe a large number of women, he was handsome. His frame was no larger than Leary's. He might have been